Hey guys, for today's video we're gonna do a little sit down video, and for this one I wanted to do things I wish I knew before I applied to a Korean university, because there's a lot of things. I've been getting questions on like Instagram and like YouTube comments, so I just wanted to like help you guys out because I wish there was more videos on this when I started. So the first question, sorry, I'm gonna be looking down because I have my notes on my little paper, but the first question I have is, what major am I in? So I'm in CDM, and in UIC specifically there's two different sections. There's the Underwood division and the Haas division, which is Humanitarian Arts and Social Sciences, and that's what I'm in. And CDM stands for Culture Design Management. And that goes into my second question, which is about the two different majors, which is Haas and UD. So basically the only difference between them is obviously Haas is more of like an arts major and like sciences, and UD is more like political science, international studies and stuff like that. But the really big difference is Haas stays in Incheon and UD goes to Seoul, the Seoul campus. So there's two campuses, one in Incheon and one in Seoul, as I said. And for your freshman year, all freshmen, even in regular Yonsei, have to stay in Incheon to like complete RC activities, which is like freshman stuff that you have to do. And you cannot escape this year, but you can leave if you're in UD. But if you're in Haas and a couple other regular Yonsei majors, you have to also go stay in Incheon, which is pretty sad, but you get to go. It's to Seoul. There's like shuttle busing and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that you can go to Seoul, but keep that in mind when you're picking your major, because it's a big thing that a lot of people like base their major off of. That goes on to my third question, which is when do you move to Seoul, which is in your second year. A lot of people think that they'll just go directly, but as I said, all freshmen have to stay in Incheon, but it's only for 1 year if you're in UD. Another question I got was, do they separate foreigners from Koreans in different classes? So no, everyone, as long as you're in UIC, you stay in the same classes. So it doesn't matter if you're Korean, Chinese, American, whatever, you're all going in the same classes, and you can even, if you have friends, just go in the same classes. So it's super mixed, like there's no separation. Another question is when to start your application process. So I know a lot of the times for fall semester, it starts in, I believe, December, if I'm not wrong. They don't have the thing posted right now, and I don't really remember what the dates was, but like somewhere in December, I believe. But I would recommend that you find the date that wherever you're gonna apply for fall or spring, and you start 2 months, the process 2 months before, because there's a lot of documents and a lot of things you have to get, because Korea is very big on authenticating your documents and really having everything like perfectly done and real, or like they want to verify that it's real. So starting a month or two before will really help you, because it took me like a month and a half to acquire all of my documents, especially because like shipping time and a lot of places just like wouldn't give me the documents I wanted. So I was struggling with that. Like I know my high school diploma, it took me 3 weeks to even get it because they didn't want to give me an extra one, and I was struggling really bad, but I got it, and so it all works out. It just takes a really long time. Where do I find the application and when do I send in the application? So one thing I recommend is checking Common App. I'm not 100% sure if they have Common App in other places. They probably do, but and you can go on Common App and send everything through there, so it's easier. Or you can go directly to the UIC website. I think it's yonsei.uic.ac.kr, and they'll have all the information, like when to apply and all that stuff. You just have to like go on their website and like click apply now, and it should have everything on there. And once you apply, if you do apply on Common App, just know that you also have to send your documents via mail, so you're not escaped like from that. But I know this year they didn't have any supplementary writing or letter of recommendation, so you get to not do that. But the only thing is your extracurriculars and all the other stuff will be the only things that like the school is seeing. So like make sure if you're like a junior or like anyone younger, you really try to add stuff onto your application just to make yourself look better and more like polished. But if you're a senior or someone going in already, don't worry, you still have time. Like you can just really shine through in your interview. That's one thing that's really big. Another question that I actually got asked by like almost everyone that's like messaged me is, do I need to fully know Korean? So yes and no, but short answer, no. So you really don't need to know Korean. I don't know Korean fully. I'm still learning and I should know a lot more, but you don't have to. UIC is a fully English school and there's a lot of people in Korea speak English, but you're in Korea, you're in the country. It's a lot easier when you know Korean, and just try to learn as much as you can within the time frame that you have. And as you're in Korea, you know, you'll pick up more things and you'll learn. So you don't have to, but learn. It'll be so much more helpful. Another question was, are there any scholarships? So UIC and Yonsei is like the scholarships aren't very much listed out. Like they just kind of give them to you. Like if you are applicable for these scholarships, they will literally send it to you on the portal and be like, you have a scholarship available, but they don't have a list of everything online. The only two that they have listed are the need-based and merit-based. So need-based, you can apply for your second semester of your freshman year, and then from there on out every semester, and it can go from 1/4 to like half your tuition, or like I'm not sure if it's fully, I don't think so, but I'm not 100% sure. And then merit-based is obviously like your grades and stuff like that. So if you get really good grades, you can get a scholarship. And there's one that you're automatically registered for in the beginning of your application process, which is the admission scholarship. And that one, you can get a full ride with that, or like 1/4, or like, you know, all that. But it's very hard to get, and I know a lot of people who got it and they took, I know one friend of mine, she was in nursing, I think, or like nursing classes, and then she got a scholarship. But they're very picky and choosy, especially when you come from certain countries. They like to more prioritize people with more stereotypical lower income countries. Now we're gonna get into the tips portion of the video. So there's a lot of things I really wish I knew, and I wish I had someone that could like tell me all these things. So the first tip I have is join online groups. So things like Instagram, Reddit, or like Discord. I personally did Reddit because it was the most available to me. Like I don't really use Discord, and I didn't find anything on Instagram in my year, and Reddit was the most popular. But it was super easy. They actually have a page. You can just go look up Reddit, you go like Yonsei UIC and like join it, and there's a lot of questions that people have on there, so you can get stuff answered, or like group chats. It's so helpful, because I don't think I would have gotten to Yonsei if it wasn't for them, because after you get accepted, there's so many like documents they have to send still, and like you have to send money, and there's so many things, and it's really confusing, especially because I did it all by myself and my parents really didn't know how to do it, so I really wanted to do it, so I had to do it myself. The second tip I have may seem very common, or just like you like would know to do this, but ask people questions. Like ask any teachers, you could ask me, or ask like other people. I know all of my friends that are in UIC, they'll be very happy to answer any questions you guys have, or like any like inquiries about school, because I know UIC is not very popular. It's like a lot of people know about it, but a lot of people don't do it, or they're scared to. So like really knowing what you're getting into will help a lot. So like ask questions. Like you can go in my comments below, and my Instagram DMs are always open. My Instagram is linked down below if you guys want to ask me any questions about like Yonsei, UIC, life in Korea. Like don't be afraid. Like I love answering people's questions. The third tip I have is save money. I know compared to US tuition, Yonsei is significantly cheaper, but it's still like about like 6-7 thousand US dollars, and it's not a lot, but it's like almost, it's like 12 to 14,000 each semester that you have to put out. If your parents are paying for it, it's a lot easier, but if you're paying for it by yourself, it is very difficult to have that money. So save as much as you can, or like work, and this is where the Korean plays into part. If you want to work in Korea, you have to have a TOEIC level 3, so, or like minimum, like a lot of places want this 3, but save as much as you can. It's also really like, I have a lot of friends whose parents pay for their tuition and they feel like a burden. They're like, oh, I'm just taking my parents' money. They want to like have stuff for themselves and not just like go buy makeup with their parents' money. So they've like went back home and worked because they wanted to, you know, like garner some of the money on their own and not just rely on their parents, which, you know, you're being in a different country, you're gonna become more independent. So like just doing that as early as possible will help you a lot. So one tip I have, because I know a lot of people wonder about the scholarships and stuff, so I would say apply for scholarships in your home country. I know it's really hard. Like, I've been trying to find a lot of scholarships for US students who are going abroad, but there's not that many, but there is some. You can look on TikTok, YouTube, there's a lot of like resources where you can go to, or even like counselors and like other people, you know, that like know the more information about this. You can like contact them, and there's a lot of stuff. I know there's one for, even if you're a study abroad student, there's like a flight or like a scholarship for your flight. I have missed it the last couple times because I wasn't really looking at them. Now I really have to, because it's I really have to write down the dates for these because I'm super bad with like the dates of scholarships. But if you guys want to check that one out, I'm not sure what the name is. If anything, I'll like link it, or it might not even be available anymore, so I'll like link it below if it's still there. This next tip I have is honestly a big one, because you're moving to a new country, you don't have many friends. Well, maybe you don't have any friends. Like when I went into school, I knew literally no one and I was super scared, but I went in there saying that I need to make friends. This is a new country. Like, I really came here to expand my opportunities and meet new people. And luckily my mom made me a friend on the first day. Her and her mom were talking outside and she was like, "You're American? I'm American. Let's chit chat." And we're still friends to this day, so thank you, mommy. But yeah, a lot of people, like, that's one of the weird stories. A lot of people are like, your mom made you a friend on the first day. Like, that's weird, or like that's more uncommon. So really just like putting yourself out there, even if you're like a shy person, just like try to become more social. Just try to do as much as you can to put yourself out there, because you are by yourself, especially if you don't know anyone. So you really just want to make sure you're opening every door that you can. Really big thing I would also say is don't stress about it, because I know when I started, I only had my one friend Kiara, and I was stressing. I was like, oh, I'm only gonna make one friend. Like, I feel like I love her and she's really great, but we're like want to expand our friendships, and people are already starting to make cliques and everything. And I was just like, oh, are we just gonna stay together? Like, I wanted to go branch out with other people, meet other people from other countries, and like have like a little friend group and a little group of people that made me feel like I'm at home. And I was stressing about it, and then at the end I made some really good friends and some people I'm still friends with today. And I would just say don't stress. Like, your friends will come, I promise you, as long as you're just out there and just nice and talkative. It'll be super simple. The sixth tip I have for you guys is everything will seem so hard and like it's all going wrong, but it's so worth it at the end. When I was starting my application process, I literally probably cried like 5 times because it was honestly so stressful and everyone was giving me so many problems, especially because I was going to like government offices and asking for like notaries and like birth certificates and stuff. And I've never done this and I was so confused. And I was because I did 1 year in my community college, and then I did my freshman year again. I like restarted, did my freshman year at Gonse, and I was just having so much trouble. So I'm like balancing like classes and like trying to go after to get these documents. It was super stressful, and honestly I so happy I don't have to do it again. Honestly. But once you get through it, you're done. You don't have to do that again. Like, now I don't have to fill out any papers, any forms, and I'm so happy. The only thing I ever have to do is like the scholarship and stuff and like course registration, which I can deal with as long as I don't have to redo that process again. But if you're feeling like, oh, I'm doing everything wrong, why aren't they responding to my emails or like anything like that, just know everyone else that's applying is feeling exactly like that. Like, when I came with all my friends, we just talked about how horrible the application process was, and I feel like it makes it much harder because you're in a different country. So just take that into account, but it all will work out in the end, especially if you look to like the tips I told you, like go to groups, find friends, do anything just like to make your application process easier. The 7th tip I have for you is learn to budget. And this may be something you already know how to do, but for some people it's more new, especially because you're on your own. And there's some things in Korea that you will have to pay for. Like these are just things you need. Someone is like a phone plan, and which you can vary the prices. It's not that expensive. Like mine I think is about $20 a month. And then insurance. So every student or like international student needs to get insurance in Korea. And I'm not sure, I know it's a lot cheaper if you're underage. So underage I think is like 18 and under. So if you're 18, it is I think about like in the range from like 20 to 30 US dollars. I'm not completely sure. And then the worst one, which is if you're over 19 and older, it is $80 a month, which for some people can be a lot, and it's a lot of times burdensome for some people. But you need to have this insurance, and if you don't pay it, it'll just keep building up, and then the bill will just get larger and larger. So things like that, and like obviously food, because Yonsei doesn't have a meal plan. They just have like the cafeterias that you can buy from every day. But if you're like me, I'm vegetarian, and a lot of the options I can't have. They have meat in them, fish in them, or just like a lot of different things, especially if you're Muslim or like anything like that, or just like have dietary restrictions. Like just take this into account. It will be a little bit more expensive sometimes because I have to buy like vegan meals and stuff, and those are just a little bit pricier. But I even know at home those are more pricier, but just take that into account, because now you're on your own and you have to pay for a lot of it. You also have to pay for travel, which is one of the most expensive things. Like I spend about like 1,400 because I go from Korea to New York every like 4 or 2 months, and it's a lot of money, and it's like one of the biggest like expenses that I pay for school. But I know that if I went to an American college, I would about be paying the same. So I think the cost for me even out. I have a twin sister and she goes to college in the US, and we pay about the same, including all my flights and like my food and stuff, because of her dorming and all that's super expensive, and in Yonsei it's a lot cheaper. My 8th tip for you guys is make sure to create a balance between school and social life. I know a lot of people that were on both sides of the spectrum, like one person who never left his room, only studied, and didn't even have like a transportation card, and I just felt so bad for him so many times. But he found friends and he ventured out. But you have to know that, especially in your freshman year, you have to reach out to people because you don't know anyone and you're like new to this country. So make sure to create even balance, but then